Today, we're talking about the process of working through trauma. And it's important to know that trauma might not just come from a single big event. Trauma can often result from repeated small injuries or offenses in our relationships. If a child is repeatedly ignored, yelled at, or called names, that's its own kind of trauma. It's important to go through the difficult and often painful process of working through trauma, because if it's not addressed, its effects can linger on for years. It's also important to go into this process aware that working through trauma can take a long period of time. Everyone heals differently, so it's important that you go at your own pace and find what works best for you. All actions to grow through trauma require tremendous personal courage and support from others. You might need someone else who can help you see the path to healing. There's no right or wrong way to process trauma. And remember, recovery is a process, not a destination. So with all that being said, let's explore some strategies that may be useful for processing trauma. This is where you can exercise your skills as a self-detective. Start by identifying the event that caused your trauma in the first place. Trauma can be buried deep in our memories, so it's okay if you can't identify the experience that's at the root of your trauma at first. From there, it can be helpful to focus on your behavior and see if there are responses to trauma that are getting in the way of your everyday life. For example, are you having trouble trusting others? Or are you avoiding situations that might remind you of that traumatic experience? As you work through these experiences and behaviors, it's going to be useful to acknowledge your feelings. Are you feeling a specific emotion as you think through all this? Try giving it a label. Another useful strategy is to find safe connections with people that you trust. Because you feel safe with them, you can lean on these loved ones as you work through your trauma. You can also work through trauma by engaging in activities that you enjoy and feel safe doing. Going for walks, hiking, sports, art, and even self-defense classes can all be useful activities to help you work through trauma. You can also spend time with safe animals in order to develop connection and practice trust. Finally, it's always a good idea to work with a professional who's experienced in helping people work through trauma. That might mean a therapist that you talk to, or a professional that specializes in something like art therapy or rituals for grief. Whatever strategies you choose to pursue, just remember that the process of working through trauma is not going to be a straight line. But over time, you will find what works for you. You'll begin to see progress emerge, and the healing that you're seeking will come to you.